John, thank you very much for this very generous introduction. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, dear friends, you're honoring me this evening with the Benjamin Franklin Award, and I'm very touched by this generous recognition. I'm also humbled to share this distinction with my fellow honoree, Ambassador Hartman, whose celebrated diplomatic career has helped to define America's place in the world for many decades. The French-American Foundation has awarded this particular recognition for many years, honoring those who have shown commitment to the French-American relationship as characterized by the life of Benjamin Franklin. As someone who has been for a long time a student of history, I have analyzed and admired the life of Mr. Franklin, who was a man of many accomplishments. And as a proponent of business, I find many of his words and thought still relevant today. There are many aspects from this man's life I could identify, but tonight I will mention one that resonates with me and with the role I've tried to play in creating value between France and the United States or among various peoples around the world. This touch point is Mr. Franklin's belief in the power of what he called strategic partnerships. History has revealed that no single man was more instrumental in altering the balance of power between France and Great Britain in order to benefit the United States during this country's infancy. Mr. Franklin tempered strategy with idealism to secure the alliance with France during the Revolutionary War, affecting its outcome. He was the architect of a strategic partnership that we are still celebrating to this day. Personally, I'm a firm believer in the power of alliance, a model that is ideally suited for the global environment we live in today. Like many of the leaders in this room, Franklin was a bridge builder reaching across cultures to tailor a solution for a pressing political problem. In business today, we routinely span cultures to operate among world markets. Being global is about speed, understanding, efficiency, and ultimately performance. Then, as now, a key value of building an alliance, such as one that exists in the Renault Nissan Alliance, is respect for identity. When I left France in 1999 to go to Japan, at the beginning of the Renault Nissan Alliance, the idea of two major automakers working together without a consolidation or merger was unheard of. We brought a new model to the global automotive industry with two companies operating side by side in a structured, disciplined partnership. There were plenty of skeptics, as you may imagine, but the principle we held sacred, such as respect for identity, autonomy of management, and the quest of synergies, formed a foundation from which we have successfully delivered consistent performance over the past 10 years. I have always been convinced that the most fundamental challenge of any alliance or merger is first cultural. If one does not believe anything can be learned from one's new partners, the venture is doomed to fail. Or in the words of Mr. Franklin, one is obliged to give up some smaller points in order to obtain the greater. In our case, we committed to work together to gain synergies that enhance the performance of each partner. We feed off each other's strengths and minimize each other's weaknesses for the sake of developing a healthy business for each company. The Renault Nissan Alliance is the only alliance that has ever succeeded in our industry, and we are looking forward to realizing even more of our potential as we go forward. One alliance effort that will significantly affect our future, and possibly your future, is our shared commitment to zero-emission leadership through the use of electric cars, and for which we can again thank Benjamin Franklin, whose kite-flying experiment affirmed the discovery of electricity. Franklin lived at a time when people traveled by foot or on horseback. He could not have imagined the day when electricity would transform the way we travel. Last week, I was in LA to introduce the all-new Nissan Leaf zero-emission car to North America. Leaf seats 5 passengers comfortably, has a 100-mile driving range, and most importantly, has zero carbon emission, zero particle, zero noise. This car is totally neutral to the environment, and it will be available in showroom next year in the United States and in Japan. Now, why am I bringing the Leaf electric car on this particular evening? Because I think it's an important example of the value that can be created by cross-cultural exchanges, which is what we are celebrating tonight. Zero-emission technology is a totally new, transformational technology that will change the way people drive, use, and power their vehicles. It's an automotive breakthrough that will bring a solution to stricter environmental regulations, to concerns about global climate change, to concerns about the price and availability of crude oil, and to concerns about the heavy dependence on oil as the sole commodity used for transportation globally. And bringing this important technology to life would not have been possible for either Renault alone or Nissan alone. The scope and scale of this new technology requires both to work together in order to launch it successfully. The cross-cultural engagement of Renault and Nissan is allowing both companies to invest in battery and vehicle production plants to bring line-up designs for the mass market. The cross-cultural engagement of both Renault and Nissan is building a framework of more than 30 zero-emission agreements with governments and partners around the world that will pave the way for a successful large-scale implementation. The engagement of both partners working across borders is laying the groundwork for sustainable mobility, which will serve people and provide environmental benefits for generations to come. Benjamin Franklin demonstrated that the powerful combination of vision, education, risk-taking, and open-mindedness could create a better future. He once wrote, "If you would not be forgotten as soon as you are dead and rotten, either write something worth reading or do things worth the writing." To his credit, he did both. So his charge is the one I will leave for us all. Let us all live in such a way that we do things that are worth the writing and hopefully then worth the reading. I'm deeply honored to accept the Benjamin Franklin Award this evening, and I commend the important work of this foundation, which has been instrumental in building bridges between nations, their cultures, mindsets, and leaders. Thank you for this truly memorable distinction and evening.